I put a tweet out today on the Loaded Box podcast Twitter page at Loaded Box. What you would ask for in return for the game-winning touchdown ball from Kenyon Drake, because he really wants it back. What would your answer be to that question?
It would be like $100,000, and I'd maybe go down to 50 minimum. Like, there's no way I'm not taking. Like, if he wanted that ball, then he just went to throw the fucker into the stands. It's your goddamn fault. If you want it from me, you're gonna pay me for it. All these rich people throwing away their crap, and then when they find out it's a value, they want it back for free. Give me a break.
I made a list of 6 things that I would ask for. Are you ready for this?
I guess.
All right. Number 1, I want an autographed game-worn jersey. Number
Nice.
2, I want tickets to the next game. Number 3, I want to be
Box seats.
Box seats. Yep. Number 3, I want to be TD. That's the mascot. I want to be him for an entire game. Number 4.
It's the Dolphins. Could you do that for another team instead for the Dolphins?
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Number 4, I want to be the one that drives Don Shula's old ass around in his golf cart for an entire game. I want to do that. Number 5, I want dinner and a movie with Lauren Tannehill. That's Ryan Tannehill's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, I really thought Tannehill's wife would be the number 1 thing. This is all I want. I want 1 free shot at Brock Osweiler with an airsoft gun.
You should have asked for box seat tickets to any other game besides the Dolphins game. Just so I don't have to watch your garbage asses, and none of the TVs can turn to it.
All right, that wins. Let's get loaded. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finish last.
I can't believe that wasn't number 1 on my list. Literally, I want tickets to a game. All right, which game do you want? The 49ers and the Seahawks.
Anybody besides you fucking guy.
You asked for a different team. All right, well, if you're brand new to the podcast, we are your hosts, Ben Morgan and DJ Primo, and this is our second preview podcast. That was, what did you say?
I just was doing that, that whap, 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 whap. DJs do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nice. It's our second preview podcast for week 15. Earlier in the week, we hit on some daily fantasy talk, some fantasy football talk first and foremost, because it's your semifinals. So make sure you go back and check that one out. This podcast is going to preview the actual games. We're going to do our weekly against the spread picks. We're going to do picking winners for each and every game. DJ, I don't really want to dwell on this too long, but we did not do well last week. And that includes me with my game of the year. How disappointing was that?
See, I actually feel good about mine. Well, so if you don't remember, we didn't write it down, but I did take the Dolphins and add them to my card while we talked to you about it.
That's true.
So technically I was 2-2. Number 2, I picked against the Packers purposely, hoping that they would win and cover. And I felt like I actually had a good week. On all my picks on Sunday, I was like 4-1 or 5-1 or something like that. The only game that I was really disappointed in, which I thought was going to win, was that Eagles-Cowboys game. Because it felt like they should have won. They would have had that stop in overtime and held them to a field goal. And somehow that miracle bounce like volleyball right to Cooper's arms.
For the game winner, yeah. Well, since we're recording this once again on Thursday night, that means the listeners aren't going to be able to hear our predictions for Chiefs and Chargers. So just like we did last week, let's make a call. What happened in that game?
Well, the Chiefs, you could see really that they struggled without Spencer Ware out there. And Philip Rivers, he did lots of hand throwing. He was fiery. He played one of his best games of the year. They had a hell of a win there, 34-31 tonight. It's
amazing that Philip Rivers hasn't thrown his arm out just from his arm throwing, like what he does. If you're watching on YouTube, you get it. That guy shakes his arm so fiercely. I love it. That's my prediction. The Chargers lost because in the fourth quarter he threw his shoulder out doing his arm shaking. The backup wasn't able to get it done. Mahomes ran in 4 touchdowns. The Chiefs ended up beating them.
Chargers made it a close game, and they came out with a win, and now the division's close, and who knows what's going to come down to.
The whole AFC is just a mess now after DJ's prediction. Well, dude, it's week 15, and we've got a couple of Saturday games. Are you ready for Saturday NFL football?
Fuck, I'm ready for every day NFL football.
All right, the players are not. That's for sure.
All the way through the summer.
Oh, that'd be nice. Well, let's do it right away. We got the Texans and the Jets. What do we have for this one?
Yes, you're going in order right away. So, this game is in New York.
It's because it's one of 2 Saturday games.
Yeah, that's true. It's in New Jersey, I guess.
In case you're new to this portion of the podcast, I write down the order of games, but it's definitely from a different website that DJ does. So there's always a little bit of a pause as DJ tries to locate the game that I'm trying to talk about. So if there's any different silences or like you think DJ's thinking like profusely, all he's doing is trying to find the game.
Sometimes I just delay it. I just keep talking. The Texans are 7-point favorites on the road. The over-under here is 41.5. Honestly, this is a garbage game. The Texans are going to win this game. It just depends on how much, right?
Right, you think so.
Sam Darnold's back, but that doesn't mean much. He hasn't, wasn't week 1, we all crowned him king of the world, and ever since then it hasn't been, like, amazing. He's been injured.
Yeah.
You got to think after the Texans got their butt whipped by the Colts last week, they come out firing. I've had that theory a few times that have backfired this year, but the Jets are a bad team, so I'm not gonna go ahead and bet against the Texans here. So if I have to choose one side, I'm gonna go. I don't like the over/under; it makes me nervous. So I'm gonna lay the 7 with the Texans if I have to.
Who did you say the Texans lost to?
Colts.
Oh yeah, they lost to the Colts. Okay, my bad.
Am I lying? Come on,
yeah,
bitch.
I think I just heard you wrong. Yeah, I'm with you. There's zero chance I could take the Jets this week. You're going to see from my picks this week, since I did so poorly last week, I've got a whole new strategy. A lot of the times I give some in-depth stats on things that I think are trends and real analysis actually of games, but I'm going to go with some gut plays here. And lo and behold, I actually ended up, for my top 3 bets this week, I picked 3 dogs. I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm picking 3 dogs this week. This is not one of them. I don't need to add much more than you did on this one, so we can move on. It's not one of my official plays, but I'm going to take the Texans as well. So let's move on to the second Saturday game, and it's the Browns and the Broncos.
So the over-under in this game is 45.5. Denver at home is laying. They are favored by 2.5 points here. Go ahead.
Okay, this is actually one of my underdogs.
Oh, okay.
So when I first checked this game out, I had Cleveland getting 3. So my common denominator in this situation is I'm buying the hook. I'm buying that half point. I'm jetting that puppy up to 3. My reasoning here, Cleveland, man, every single week they seem to kind of just be in the game. They'll look like a pretty solid team. They'll have a week like they did 2 weeks ago where they don't really look all that good. But for the most part, they've been really competitive. Every single week that Baker Mayfield kind of has like an off throw or an off day, you always seem to text me and say, hey, how's Baker looking today?
It's been a while.
It has been a while. And I'm wondering, why don't you ever give him the credit that he deserves? That guy?
He threw like 24 interceptions 2 games ago, and I didn't say any words to that either.
All right. I will probably disagree. I'll have to go back through my phone history and check. But, man, I just think the Broncos, they haven't looked good at all recently, and they're underwhelming right now. They're trotting out some accountant at wide receiver that we talked about earlier this week at Tim Patrick. They're just falling. I love Phillip Lindsay, don't get me wrong, but I still think this Browns defense is probably a little bit better than what they've proven. They just need the offense to keep getting it going. And if it's a close game and I'm getting 3 points, I don't see the Denver Broncos blowing anyone out. And I know 3 points isn't a blowout, but my gut feeling here, I want to take the Browns.
You know how easily that Tim Patrick could turn from a white name to a black name? If his first name was just Tim Patrick something,
you gotta combine
it would make sense. It was like Tim Patrick Smith, Tim Patrick
Jackson.
I don't know. Yeah, just like that. If it was Tim Patrick, then I'd be like, all right, now this is what I'm talking about. But it's Tim Patrick, and I don't believe anything in him. Like, they could fix that name that quickly, just combine it into one.
You just picked your next son's name, I'm pretty sure.
Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick Primo.
It'd probably spell a little different, but yeah, if I have to choose a side here, I'm just spitballing here, but I'm probably going to go with the Browns just because they're talented here. Like I've said over and over again, they have a lot of talent offensively. I know they struggled defensively here in the second half of the season, and earlier in the season, it looked like a top 10 defense. They've definitely gone downhill from here, but the Broncos don't have any wide receivers. Looks like Case Keenum's kind of lost without him, without Sanders, without Thomas, without anybody out there. So you got to go with the Browns on this game.
Yeah, one thing that makes me nervous, Denzel Ward's going to be missing again. He's not going to
They
be
don't have
playing
wide receivers.
in this one. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, some other accountant can cover Tim Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that name fast moving forward. I'm only just going
I
to
know
say
it's
Tim
hard not to
Patrick.
say it like that now.
I love it. Well, let's move on to some Sunday action. Let's start with the Falcons and the Cardinals.
The next game on the slate is Elkhorn State at NC A&T, actually.
I do not have any analysis for that one.
For some reason. Who do you have now? Falcons and who?
Falcons and Cardinals.
Okay. So this game is playing in Hotlanta, the Dirty A. The Falcons are favored by 10 points. The over-under here is 44. And this game is interesting. I can't take the over again because the Cardinals defense is solid enough to make some stops, and the Falcons just couldn't really score the entire game until like the last 5 minutes against the Packers last week. I can't imagine a game right now. I think the Falcons are like 4-9 or something like that. Somewhere record around there. I think they have 4 wins. Cardinals have 3.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the Falcons winning any game by 10 points at this point.
No.
That's just too many. I have to take the dogs here in the Cardinals. Like I said, I think it's going to be a Fitzgerald. I said this on our Tuesday podcast. I think they're just going to feed Fitzgerald, and I think it might help him.
I agree with you, but you know what? The one thing that scares me in a modern day NFL where it's not uncommon for a team to average around 30 points per game, the Arizona Cardinals average less than 14 per game. Like that's a tad bit alarming. But yeah, they've only got 3 wins. Atlanta only has 4 wins, but Atlanta's only 3-10 against the spread. Man, they're just terrible. They're trash against the spread.
They're just trash. Period.
Like I said, I don't know if I can see them winning by double digits. It's not an official play, but I have to go. I have to go with the Cardinals as well. Maybe the Falcons straight up, but against the spread, I gotta go Cardinals. I did go through this week and I wrote down what I thought the teams would be favored by in this one, and I actually predicted the Cardinals to be favored by about 7. So since you're adding a whole...
Falcons, you mean?
What did I say?
The Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, fuck that. That'd be a terrible spread. I had the Falcons by 7. So if you're going to give me an extra 3, I'll take the Cardinals against the spread on that one. But yeah, trash game, throw it away. I don't want to watch it. Let's move on to the Bills and the Lions. Another trash game that I could go without.
I was just trying to guess where it was, and I was wrong. So Lions are playing in Buffalo here. Buffalo with a great defense. Bills are favored by 2. The over-under is 40. That's a low one, but it is the Bills, like I said, playing great defense in this biatch. God, I hate that. I hate the spread here. So if I have to pick a side here, I'm not going on the side. I'm going with the total. I'm going under the 40. I don't think the Lions played one of their best defensive games a week, 2 weeks ago.
It was against the
Rams. What?
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did play against the Rams a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they played incredibly good defensively against the Rams. They're getting to golf, struggling, or making them frustrated, just like the Bears did this last week. And the Bills, I know that Allen's been running around a lot, but they just won't. I just don't think they can score enough offensively. Plus, defensively, they can shut down the Lions. So I could see this being like a Notre Dame. No, not a Notre Dame, like an Army-Navy or a Wisconsin, Nebraska back in the 9 or something like that. So like a Nebraska-Michigan State game this year was 9-6. I could see it to be something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it with Buffalo not being able to score. Another team in today's NFL where offense is king, they're averaging less than 16 per game. Mm-hmm. I hate this game. What did you say that the line was on this one?
The Bills are 2-point favorites. That's why I didn't like the line.
Okay, so I had them at 3-point favorites. So I guess just by default, I'm gonna take the Bills against the spread, not as an official play, but I think what you said about Allen getting it done on the ground, I think that adds a little bit of an extra element that you can't necessarily plan for quite as much if you're not really ready for it. It's tough to bet on Josh Allen, but I think I'm going to have to give him the nod here. And they're at home. Buffalo in December, there's something about that where it's a little bit more challenging. Detroit shouldn't have an issue with that. I mean, they play in Green Bay. They play in Chicago every single year. So they're kind of used, I guess, to an outdoor cold game. But Buffalo in December seems like a tough place to go to. For that reason alone and Josh Allen's legs, give me the Bills. Ugh.
Do you remember?
Keep going.
The 21st night of December.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
It's actually 21st night of September.
Oh, but
it's a song.
Man, I am not cultured, I guess, if I don't know that one.
Yeah, you suck at songs.
Let's talk about the game that involves your favorite team. It's the Bears and the Packers, the rematch from that Week 1 game where it looked like Aaron Rodgers was done for the season, but then he comes back high on all sorts of painkillers and just wins the game, and all of a sudden it looks like Packers are a great team and the Bears were exposed, and then it flip-flopped. So what do we got for this one?
So the Bears are 6-point favorites at home, and the over-under here is 44.5. Why don't you go ahead and start it off?
I honestly was hoping you wouldn't say that because I have no idea for
I can
this
go.
game. No, that's fine. Gosh. So I predicted the Bears line to be 6.5, so I was right about where it actually is. What makes me a little bit
You're
nervous?
handicapping.
I'm capping it.
You're a handicapper. Holy shit, that's
Oh.
a handicapper.
I'm a little off on some other ones coming up here, though, so let's not rush to conclusions.
But you're your own handicapper, so if you're handicapping a game one way and you have it different, then you should go the way that you think it is. That even helps sometimes.
Get me a sticker, baby. I'm parking them
Yeah.
close.
Let's see if it works. Nice.
When it's
I don't know
this,
if it's a sticker, but
whatever, a tag.
yeah.
When it's this many points and it's the Packers involved, my head instantly goes to take the Packers with the better quarterback getting that many points. What scares me is this game is in Chicago, and Chicago's defense is really damn good. And I just think the Packers might struggle a little bit this one because this is it's actually a pretty big game for both teams, but I feel like it's even a little bit more important for the Bears because if they can win this one, they crush the Packers' hopes and they basically solidify themselves in the NFC North. Like it's their division at that point.
It already is their division.
Yeah, maybe.
It is.
This is a game that if I could, I wouldn't take the over-under. I wouldn't take a side, but you make me. I'm going to take the Bears.
So this is actually one of my official picks.
Okay,
I'm taking
first and foremost, hold on. Going into the season, it was, I never bet on or against the Packers. This is like 3 or 4 weeks in a row that your Packers have been in official play.
What did I do last week?
Well, you jinxed the Falcons is what you did.
Yeah, okay. So, going off that, I am taking the Chicago Bears -6 versus the Green Bay Packers. Let's just say, there's no way the Packers can get it done on the road, right? They haven't won a game on the road yet this year. They've had chances. They haven't done it. Rodgers will probably throw his second interception of the year. As you know, he's only had one. He has like the record for most pass attempts without an interception.
Yeah.
He just broke that last game. Khalil Mack went winded in that last game. In the second half, he was winded. He couldn't even be on the field after the game. He was tired. I think it brought down the whole defense. It was the first game they were tired because Rodgers was just murdering them on one leg. He'll not be winded in this second game like he was.
Remember, he was on the snap count.
He was, but he was playing a ton still.
Right.
So I don't think there will be any 20-something point comeback this week. The Bears' run game is going to be too much. The creative offense is too much. That dominant defense is too much. I'm going with the Bears here. One unit. I don't know if you see what I'm doing here, but who knows?
Oh,
maybe you guys are smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah, I think I've already picked up on it. Probably last week. By the way, all my unit plays are 2 units. I forgot to throw that in there last time. I'm not doing that game of the year 5-unit business anymore. That really hurt me. I didn't realize the Packers.
I told you. Like when I looked at that 9-point spread, changed to 7 with Xavier Howard out, I said there's something fucking suspicious going on here. I'm all in on the Dolphins, so you didn't give me enough credit for my actual picks this year.
Last week, I guess you should probably say.
Yeah, and you should have sprinkled it on the money line.
I should have sprinkled it on the money line. Could have really cashed in.
Kenny Drake, even if they don't score that touchdown, the Dolphins still cover that.
They still cover, yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize the Packers hadn't won on the road, and that the Bears are 6-1 at home.
Hey, good teams win, great teams
cover. So go fuck yourself, Patriots. Let's do another one here. Oh, this is a pick of mine. It's the Raiders and the Bengals.
You picked in this fucking game.
I'm dogging it, baby.
That is disgusting. All right, the Bengals are playing at home. They're 3-point favorites. The over-under here is 46. What I'm going to do here is I'm going points. When I see garbage games with garbage defense like this, and so teams that can score, life's too short to bet the under, baby. Fuck the 3. Fuck the side. Let's go the total. Over 46 all day. Score some points.
It's funny because, both teams actually, allow around 30 points per game. The problem is their offenses just haven't quite been there. The nice thing for the Raiders, though, is they scored 33 in a loss 2 weeks ago, and they scored 24 in a win against Pittsburgh last week. So while I think the Raiders would be better off losing this game and just trying to maybe play for the future, because by trading Mack, by trading Cooper, by getting all these first rounders, that's what they're doing, and they're kind of screwing it up. But man, I've been kind of on the fence about Derek Carr for the last 2 weeks. I got to watch like the second half of that Raiders Steelers games last week. He'll still make those throws that you're just like, wow, the potential is there. It's just a couple of decisions here and there that it's like you kind of scratch your head. But then look who he's been throwing the ball to recently. Ever since Cooper's gone, I mean, Crabtree's not in the picture anymore. Jared Cook is likely his most reliable target. And I didn't think Jared Cook would exist without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So, man, they're playing a little bit better than I thought they would. And the Bengals, I mean, they're the Bengals at this point. They're a team that's just been killed by injuries. I don't really like the future outlook of that team. Jeff Driscoll has been okay. But there's just something about this Raiders team right now where I think that they can hang. You're going to give me the 3 points?
Raiders.
I'll take what DJ just said for 2 units if you're going to give me 3 points.
Couple of questions here.
Couple of
Number
answers.
one, the first one's a comment. The second one's a question.
One answer then.
First comment here is, I'm blanking.
Oh, no.
You know what's going to happen this year is that John Gruden is going to end up trading at the end of the year Derek Carr. He's going to go somewhere like Tampa or something like that and be like the best quarterback in the league. That's number one.
The trend just continues.
Number two, what do you think that the Bengals do at quarterback next year? We're not only are we a fantasy football podcast, a betting podcast, but we are just a football podcast. We talk football. That's what we do. What do the Bengals do with Andy Dalton next year? The same thing with the Buccaneers. They're kind of in the same situation, I feel like.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for the Bengals for like the last 2 years, and I've been saying this about Tampa Bay like early this year once Jameis Winston didn't really pan out. Quit dragging your franchise around with these quarterbacks that have been there long enough.
Sometimes you got to wait and see. Like some teams are just not that are in such a bad situation for so long that it's like, I don't want to be in that situation if I don't have to.
What my theory is, okay, so the Dolphins and Tannehill are in the same situation as the Bengals are with Dalton. If he's been your guy for 7 to 8 years and you're not consistently making the playoffs and you don't know if he's the answer yet and you kind of have to go back and forth, he's not your guy. You literally need to hit the reset button, and teams are so scared to hit the reset button. But look what happens when you do it correctly. I mean, the Rams were terrible. They got rid of their coach. They got rid of their quarterback. They got the first pick. They gave Goff a chance. He sucked right away. Then they definitely got rid of Fisher. But you got to retool, and I know that it kind of stinks. You're going to throw a season or two away. But, okay, what do you want to do? Go 3-13, or do you want to go 7-9? You're better off. It sucks. But you're better off going 3-13. Quit dragging the franchise behind this quarterback that maybe is good enough to get you to the playoffs, but isn't going to do it. Do what Kansas City did. They saw the potential of what they needed with Mahomes, and that's what he provided them. Alex Smith was going to keep them as about a 10-win team, get bounced in the first or second round of the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes has elevated that team offensively to a whole different level, and now they're the favorite in the AFC to win the Super Bowl. Not saying every single team is going to find a Mahomes, but you need to do something different. Quit dragging along these Andy Daltons and Ryan Tannehills. They're great backups. That's what they've become at this point. You don't want them starting.
They're going to be starters somewhere because there are bad enough starters like Eli Manning in this league that they are. So they kind of do deserve the starting job a little bit, but they'd be like the best backups in the league. So they're always going to be probably better than somebody starting in the league. So you have to look at it that way. The only people making the bad decision here are the Jacksonville Jaguars, to be honest with you. Because they're getting rid of Blake Bortles. That's like the worst decision you could ever make. He's going to go, you ever think about this? Name a number one wide receiver on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The problem is the guy that they thought was going to be the number one receiver was out for the year, and he's still not even a number one receiver in Marquise Lee.
Yeah, not at all. Not one of those guys would ever be a number one wide receiver on any other team in the NFL. There's not a single one of them.
All I can think about is when Blake Bortles did have a number one and Allen Robinson is that clip from
training. They tore it up.
Yeah, that 1 year. But then there's that clip from
Yeah.
training camp where Bortles kept overthrowing him, and you heard Robinson get picked up by a camera say, "Throw the fucking ball in bounds." That's just funny to me.
It was practice. He's attesting Allen Robinson's abilities. No wonder he tore his ACL. He was too pussy to jump up in the air and make some plays.
Oh my
How was that
gosh.
on Blake Bortles?
Just because you got to throw it in bounds. He just wanted to. He
Just
wanted to
make a
increase
play.
Allen Robinson's spectacular catch on Madden rating.
It's not his fault that Allen Robinson had a pussy ACL.
Your language is offensive. I actually have a side in the next game, so let's break it up here real quick. I want to talk about Pristine Auction because this is the last basically day to get signed up for our giveaway that they are sponsoring. It is a signed Devontae Adams Blaze mini helmet.
Fuck.
Make sure that you are following the Loaded Box podcast on Twitter. Find the tweet where we talk about the details for the giveaway. Retweet it, follow us, tag a friend, show proof of you being subscribed to this podcast, and you'll get signed up to win. And we're going to make an announcement probably this weekend for that. So thanks to Pristine Auction. Head over to their website. It's pristineauction.com. All right, DJ, I cheated a little bit and saw that we are both on this next game, and it's the Cowboys and the Colts.
The Cowboys? All right.
You heard of them?
So, I don't know. I thought I was going to say something clever like the Bears, but it wasn't. It didn't go how I thought it was going to.
Anyway.
Cowboys are playing in Indianapolis here. Colts are favored by 3. The over-under is 47. As you said, I didn't look at yours, but I do have this as part of my card here. I'm taking Indianapolis here. -3 versus Dallas. Here's what I feel, and I've got some numbers for you guys. This is like the deepest I've it's the deepest I've dug into numbers I think all year. So Dallas is a hot team, right?
Sure
I feel
are.
like everyone is going to be on Dallas. It just feels like that. I mean, they're playing at home. They're hot. They're winning. They beat the Saints. They just keep winning. Cooper's scoring 1,000 touchdown. But let's be honest, Dallas really does rely. When it comes down to it, they rely on their front seven and that defense to win games and to help that secondary get it done. They are, I think, the number 12 team in league, tied for 12, something like that in the league in sacks. But on the reverse side of that, Indianapolis, never seen before with Andrew Luck, is second in the league with 16 in sacks taken. Sacks given up. They have the least amount of sacks given up. Andrew Luck has never experienced a year like that. They are only second behind, guess who? One guy you would just expect to not get sacked ever.
Russell Wilson.
Tom Brady.
Just kidding. He's the one that gets sacked all the time.
Yeah, he gets sacked all the time. Tom Brady. So I think what's going to happen is Luck is going to sit back there. Dallas isn't going to get that pressure as much and as fast as they have been used to this year. And Luck is going to pick that secondary apart. He's going to expose them. Plus the fact that Dak is trash. 3 units.
What happened when your beloved Andrew Luck played against the Jaguars and their good pass defense?
He beat the shit out of them the first time I remember.
I like how you flipped that on me. All right, this is a card play for me as well. I'm on the opposite side, though. I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm getting those points. It's the day of the dog. It's the week of the dog.
I don't think I've lost to you this year.
I don't know if you have either. Actually, one time. I remember one time.
Did I?
Yeah, I don't remember the game, but I remember being able to be cocky the next week.
Yeah, if you want to win, already take my side.
Boo. So the one number that I have for this game is 5-0 because the Cowboys in their last 5 are 5-0 straight up and against the spread. The bad thing is they haven't really blown out a team during that. 6-point win last week, 3 the week before that, 8, 3, and 7. So it's not like they're crushing teams. And they weren't playing all that great teams either. The Saints are really the only good team in that stretch that they ended up beating. They beat the Eagles twice. So yeah, I think we need to tread a little bit lightly on the Cowboys here. But I just see that the way that defenses are beating up on teams with the good offenses right now, and I like that Cowboys defense. I'm like you said, I'm kind of with you on Dak. I'm not sold on him as a great quarterback, but man, if you can get Zeke Elliott going, the way that him and Cooper have developed a little bit of a chemistry so far, I don't think that the Colts have been tested enough by like a trio like that, where I think the defense in Indy is a little bit more propped up than what they actually are. I think the Cowboys can expose that a little bit. So if you're going to give me the points again, I'm going to take the dog, DJ. 2 units.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Oh gosh, I'm going to this game. Vikings Dolphins. What do we got?
All right, so actually, okay, I'll set this game up first. So, Vikings, the game is in Minnesota here. Vikings are 7.5-point favorites. The over/under is 44.5. Why don't you start, Mr. Dolphins fan?
All right, so when I handicapped this game, I had the Vikings favored by 7.5. So I am a fucking mad scientist right now. Oh man, there's zero chance I can bet on the Dolphins still. That win last week was so fluky. There was some reports today that Xavier Howard was running, but he's struggling with lateral movements. It's probably likely that he's not going to play.
Reports that he's running. That can't ever be
He's
good.
running. Yeah. So if you're gonna say, like I said on the podcast earlier this week, I think it's a bounce back week. My DFS stack of the week is Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen, or go ahead and use Stephon Diggs if you want. I think you're in a great bounce back position right now. I just don't see the Dolphins being able to slow them down enough. And with DeFilippo out, it sounds like they're going to try to commit a little bit to the running game as well. And you know just as good as anyone, the Dolphins struggle against running backs, and I think it could be a bit of a breakout for Dalvin Cook as well. Dolphins scored some points last week, but that was against the Patriots, and that defense has some holes. I don't see that many holes in the Vikings defense. So, man, for how much this kills me, I mean, I think of the Vikings straight up, and I hate to do it again, but man, I think I'd have to go with the Vikings against that line as well.
This is my bonus pick of the week right here. This is actually my fourth pick. My bonus pick is on my card, though. It is my bonus pick of the week. I'm putting 4 out there. I am taking the Miami Dolphins plus 7.5 in Minnesota. Here's why. It's because I want them to win. It's because I need them to win. And because Kirk Cousins is fucking trash, like our boy Mikey from Philly.
I love it. We'll talk about Mikey here in a little bit. Let's get to that here in a second. So let's go on to the Titans and the Giants.
All right, so the Titans are playing the Giants. I'm assuming they're playing in New Jersey. Yep. Wait a second. Whatever. So the Giants are 2-point favorites, and the over/under in this game is 43.5. I haven't thought about this game, but just gut feeling here, based off of what I said. I think it was last week, because I think you picked against the Giants. You ended up being wrong, and I ended up being right on that one.
Correct.
Because the Giants are the hot team. The Giants are hot right now. They are just that. That's what they are. So you got to ride that hot hand. Titans are about as cold as you can be as well. On the opposite side, you've got to lay the 2 points here with the Giants at home.
Titans just ran for 6 million yards in a game and beat up on the Jags.
Yeah, they stink, though.
Yeah, I got to second that. My handicapping on this one, I had the Titans favored by 3, so I guess just what's in my gut and what's in my head, I have to take the Titans. It's not an official play by any means. I don't like the Titans that much. But if you remember from the DFS episode, I think the Giants are going to try to key in on that run game. They're going to try to shut Henry down. I don't think they're going to have too many issues. I don't see Henry going for more than like 60, 70 yards in this game. Sneaky game here for Corey Davis. I think they can beat him over the top a couple of times. I'm actually going to take the Titans to win this one outright.
You might not be a very good handicapper.
Earlier you were praising me, and now I'm the worst.
I was trying to get your confidence up, but
thanks.
At worst, I would have done a pick'em here if I was handicapping this game.
Oh, well, try it next week. See how you do.
I will. I'll fucking do it. Fuck it.
All right, let's look at the...
Got nothing better to do. I can't fucking play fantasy football. I can't gamble because I lost too much money. Christ.
You're going to have to start washing people's cars.
I'm going to start prostituting myself.
Do that later. This game's trash in my book. Jags and Redskins. I don't even want to talk about it.
You bet on a trash game already, so...
What do you got for the Jags and Redskins?
They're playing in Jacksonville with a shit quarterback. According to scoresandodds.com, Colt McCoy and Alex Smith are both out with no legs.
Good.
So the Washington Paraplegics are 7.5-point dogs, and the over/under is 36.5. What's the lowest over/under in the history of books in the modern era?
What the Saints score per week?
That is wild. Okay, let me start it off here. I wanted just the points, but when I see an over/under like that, I'm going under. You challenge me with 36.5. I think they can go under that.
Say the comfortable line.
You can't get low enough. It's you know what? When I'm making a bet, if I'm not uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable.
I love it.
Just say it.
I love it.
That's what it comes down to. And I'm going to go ahead and Google what the fucking lowest over-under spread is in the history
Yeah, no kidding.
of modern-day NFL.
What did you have for a line on this game? The Jaguars are by 7?
Jags are favored by 7.5.
Okay, so for this reasoning, I had the Jags at 3. I just don't know that they can beat anybody by a touchdown plus. So for that, I know I bet on the Redskins last week. I know that they were terrible last week. Oh, man, this whole quarterback situation's got me a little flustered. The Redskins' defense is solid, but it can have its lapses. But the thing is, the Jaguars' offense is not good. I don't see it having a lapse. If you're going to give me a touchdown plus against the Jaguars, I don't know if I care which NFL quarterback is playing for them. I think I have to take the Redskins here against the line. That's my handicapping coming into play again.
The lowest over-under in NFL history was on September 2nd, 1979, in a game between the Falcons and the Saints, and it was 32 points. Guess what the game finished for the score?
Oh my God, 6-4.
40-34. It was the highest scoring game of the week. That is awesome.
Is that a real stat?
I'm so glad I just Googled that.
That is fantastic. Can you imagine that? That is wild.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's move on to the Ravens.
Both teams went over the total over.
That's fantastic. How funny is that, though? That the game that we're talking about in 2018 is only like 4 points higher
4.5, yeah,
than that game in whatever you said,
1979.
Oh, 1979. Okay. Crazy, though. Let's move on to the Ravens and the Bucks. Lamar Jackson's been named the starter despite Joe Flacco being healthy. Well, maybe we'll see him, maybe we won't. But what's the info on the Ravens and the Bucks?
So the Ravens are playing at home in this game. They're laying 7 points, so they're 7 points favorites. If you don't understand the cool guy betting lingo, laying means that you're favored by 7 points. The over-under or the total is 46.5. So when I refer to the side, that's the spread, the 7-point spread. So if I say I'm betting the side, so that means I'm betting either the Ravens or the the Buccaneers against the 7. The total is the 46.5 here. I was just giving some education here. I felt like I needed to educate the kids.
Sometimes you gotta
also,
elaborate.
When Ben and I say we're betting our card, I actually teach Ben this. Card is a game that you're actually officially going to bet in. So you're actually putting money on that game. That's a game that you like a lot. You're betting on it. Units are just how much we like a game. So if you're a small bettor like us, 1 unit could be $10, 5 units could be $50, right? So that shows comparison to those different sides. So Ben says it gives a more accurate representation where I just bet the same amount constantly, but it does probably.
Anyway, that was well said. I'm glad that we should have went over that week 1. But here we are, week 15. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's time to educate them. So I hate everything about this game.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a lot to say.
Nope.
Let's just go with flip a coin. Buccaneers, I think they can stay within 7 of this Ravens team.
Wow, I think the Ravens D is too strong here. I don't think it matters who plays quarterback, but I think Lamar Jackson, if there's a team that he's finally going to find success throwing the ball against, it's got to be the Bucs. I had the Ravens by 5. I'm not scared of the extra 2 points. It's not a card game, but I'm going to take the Ravens. I'm laying all the points. It doesn't matter. I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, that was boring.
Yeah, it's the Ravens.
That's true. When I see the Buccaneers, I want them to be playing like the Saints or the Chiefs or something like that. There's someone that they can score against them a ton.
That's the thing,
Not the
though.
fucking Ravens.
Ravens might not let them score. Ravens' defense is legit. Let's talk about another legit defense, the Seahawks. They beat the shit out of the Vikings defensively in that game last Monday night. We got Seahawks and 49ers this week.
Right, the 49ers are 4-point dogs here, and they're playing in San Francisco. The over-under is 44. I thought this was an interesting spread here. When I actually originally looked at this, I thought it would actually be what?
It's a fishy line, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought the Seahawks would be favored by more, to be honest with you.
Right.
And for that reason, I'm going to go with the Niners, and I think I'm gonna tell you guys not to just take the +4, but if you see my fingers on YouTube, what I'm doing is I'm sprinkling a little bit on that money line right there.
Oh my God!
Sprinkling a little bit of that money on the money line. if I see a spread that I think seems a little fishy like that, I'm uncomfortable right now. So I am comfortable. Get it? 49ers, sprinkle a little money on that money line. Take the +4, win some money, go home and kiss your wife.
You literally need like a dictionary of DJ Primo lingo to follow along with this particular episode, just because everything you say like contradicts itself, but the way you do it, it makes it make sense.
It makes so much sense.
It is so next level. I got to go opposite here. I handicapped the Seahawks at -6. It's not too much, obviously, more than 4. That's your math tip of the day. But as long as
you didn't even give the math on that.
Yeah, you're true.
You just said it's not too much, which I guess could be a double wordplay there.
I did that on purpose. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
As long as it's under that touchdown, I'm taking the Seahawks. Man, that defense is so suffocating. I'm not a Nick Mullins believer. I'm just not a believer in the 49ers in general at this point. I think Seahawks, I mean, they score against the Vikings, like 21, but their offense didn't look all that good. I think they're going to need to try to get back on track here a little bit, get that running game going, get Tyler Lockett going, get Russell Wilson back going. I mean, he looked average to like below average in that game.
The Seahawks scored 21,
Confirmed. But yeah, he was just making kind of dumb plays. I think this is maybe a get-right game for Seattle. Still probably a game that obviously that they're going to need to win in order to have a shot at that wild card yet. I'm going to swallow those points. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Jimmy Garoppolo is out in this game, according to scoresandodds.com.
All right, so Garoppolo's out. And who are the other guys?
Just that's all that matters.
Okay.
I don't know. All I know is I'm excited to watch, Hunter Henry and Kareem Hunt go at it tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Let's take 1 minute to talk about Stephen A's blunder here. Because I think there is a chance, and DJ, I don't know if you're trying to talk to me right now, but you are muted. But now you're better.
No, I wasn't talking.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
No.
All right, let's talk about Stephen A's blunder real quick, because he literally couldn't have gotten more things factually incorrect in 30 seconds if he would have been trying to. He called the LA Chargers San Diego. He talked about Hunter Henry, who's been out all year. He talked about Derek Thomas, who does not play for the Chiefs anymore. And wasn't there one more thing?
Derek Johnson.
Oh, yeah, the Derek Johnson thing. So, yeah, he couldn't have screwed up more.
No, there was one more at the very beginning that he got wrong, too.
I can't remember what it was, but regardless, it was terrible. But do you think, and I want
Spencer Ware is out.
Spencer Ware. There's something I want to think here. There's no way he could have possibly gotten all of those things wrong unless he did it on purpose. I think it was a media play. I think he did it on purpose, and more people are feeding into him.
Did you read Ben Albright's tweet? Is that why you're saying that?
No, I did not see Ben's tweet.
Pretty Ben said that, like, you know what? SportsCenter wants their big guys. They don't care what their big guys saying wrong, because if anything, that actually gives them more attention, more publicity, and it's going to make them more popular because people are going to watch to see if he's going to make those type of errors. He didn't say all that, but he did say that in shorter words, but I'm just adding a little bit to it. So, yeah, I could see, especially with Stephen A., I'm sure that, I'm going to say one more time, what's his name? Skip Bayless will go ahead on FS1 and say something just as stupid just to try to counteract that and get eyes back on him. And it'll be a battle. They still battle each other, I think, from just a distance. Because Stephen A. still just talks about how much he hates the Cowboys.
Right.
And Skip's not even there anymore. And then Skip just talks about Aaron Rodgers. So they probably watch each other's show and they're fighting each other. And they're
fighting each other without even talking to each other.
Is it that Kid Rock song where it's like singing about how they miss their ex? My girl's in the next room, but all I think about is you, or something like that. I guess we never really moved on. That's what it's like. Skip Bayless and Stephen R. Smith are that song. They can't get over each other. They're watching each other, and that's all they can think of every night is each other.
I love it. That was some great vocals there. I could probably do a whole podcast talking about Stephen A. because while I think like he is doing that for some media love, and he gets why he's popular, because he can just be outlandish and just scream at people, and he has his own show and he can control the narrative and everything. But there's no one in the game doing it better than Stephen A. The guy is a mad genius. But the problem is with a lot of his analysis, because even when he's trying to be serious, he makes a lot of errors because he's spread so thin. He's got his foot in everything. So I don't even blame him. So he got it wrong. Whatever. Move on.
Yeah, it's like Adam Schefter getting into the NBA now. I don't see him tweet about it, but he's supposed to be in it.
So my theory on that, it's all the ESPN cuts. Like they're cutting all these people, so they need people to do more stuff. So,
sure.
Well, I think we're on to a game that I'm looking forward to. It's the Patriots and the Steelers.
So we're not on to Cincinnati.
We're not on to Cincinnati.
All right, so this is one of my official picks.
Oh, it is.
Steelers. The game's in Seattle.
In Seattle.
The game's in Pittsburgh. Patriots are 3-point favorites, and the over/under is 51.5. Why don't you go ahead and start? What are you looking at?
I got hoes in different area codes.
Porn on your phone is what you're saying. Is that what that means?
What did you have for a line on this one?
Patriots are 3-point favorites. Over/under is 51.5.
Oh, I'm definitely going with Pittsburgh here. I handicapped Pittsburgh as 3-point favorites.
I like it.
By my theory on that alone, I have to take the Steelers. What would scare me is usually New England off of a loss like this. You don't.
Wait a second. When I looked at this line, it was 2.5 an hour ago. What did I just tell you?
You told me New England was favored by 3.
Okay, they're 3-point favorites. I looked at this line an hour ago. It was 2.5.
That's a whole half point.
Now it's the Patriots favored by 3, so that actually helps me.
Yep, that's fine. So I can't believe you made me stop for a half point.
I know, but I got real fucking confused there for a second.
Anyway, like I was saying, you don't want to bet against Tom Brady and New England coming off of a loss. But I'd say the same thing about Pittsburgh. You don't want to bet against Pittsburgh and Big Ben after a loss. And I think if you're going to get the home team getting points here, I think I have to go with Pittsburgh in this one. I mean, gosh, I think New England might be a little bit better, but given the circumstances, I think I have to go with Pittsburgh here.
All right, so this is my last official card here. This is my most confident game. I stand by the fact that I just don't think the Patriots are that good. They seem weak in a lot of different areas. I don't see an AFC Championship appearance out of them this year. In fact, I don't see them getting by their first round of the playoff game.
Wow, bold.
Watch. Now listen up. If they lose to Pittsburgh, they're going to be – the Pittsburgh's going to have the head-to-head, but Pittsburgh has a tie, so they're actually going to be a half game ahead anyways. Because they have 5 losses, then that would give New England 5 losses. And if Houston wins out, do you know what Houston's 3 remaining games are?
I do not.
You don't have to look it up. I have it.
Go ahead.
It's the Jets, the Eagles, and the Jags.
Ooh,
okay,
that should be
they
3
should
wins.
win the rest of the remaining games with only 4 losses. So they could end up with the Patriots could actually end up with the 4 seed here. And if they end up with the 4 seed, do you know who they would probably more than likely definitely end up playing?
More than likely, probably, definitely. Probably the Colts.
No, Chargers.
No, the Chargers, yeah, because the Chiefs probably win the division.
Yeah, exactly. So the Chiefs would probably win the division. Either way, they would either play the Chiefs or the Chargers. That's true. The fact.
That's a terrible matchup.
Exactly. So I don't see them getting by that first round. I could easily see them falling to the 4 seed. Easily. Oh. Right now they're at 2, but if they lose, they probably are going to drop to that 4 seed. Pittsburgh has.
Yeah, you went next level on that one. That's good diving. I like that.
Thank you. Thanks. Pittsburgh has struggled the last, especially losing to Oakland, but like you said, coming off a loss like that. But honestly, better in all areas of the game than the Pats. There's actually not an area that I don't, besides quarterback, who are both really good Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So obviously, Roethlisberger's won 2, Brady's won 5. So, you give the edge to Brady, but who's got the better weapons? James Conner may not play. It looks like he's iffy, but I'd still take the wide receivers. I'd take that offensive line. I'd take the defense. Pittsburgh all around has one of the best defenses in the league. Honestly, they're pretty balanced against the run, against the Pats. Pittsburgh should win this game easily. And maybe I'm playing with fool's gold here, but I'm taking 5 units on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a couple of numbers right now. Pittsburgh gives up less than 100 on the ground. They both average about the same offensively and defensively. But, yeah, it's a must-win right now. I mean, if the Pittsburgh loses this game, they already have 6 losses with a couple of weeks left, and that's just not going to bode well for them. I already spoke my piece on this one. I'm with you on Pittsburgh. I have to agree.
Yeah, I deep dove into that schedule real quick.
That was a good thing, man. Whoever ends up as that 4 seed in the playoffs, that's going to be
whomever.
Is it?
Whomstever.
I wish I could remember some of those office lines.
What beer are you drinking tonight?
Oh, I went with Old Reliable. I'm sipping on a Busch Light. What do you got?
Yeah. I'm glad you stay strong. I'm actually going tonight with. I'm stealing. You know what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to steal some other podcast stuff. It's like fuck Beerfield Fantasy. We're better than them at their own game. We are. I'm drinking some Indeed Brewing Company Stir Crazy Porter.
Sounds legit. Is it good? It's in a can.
It's pretty solid. It's got a little bit of coffee, a little bit of milk in there. You know, it's got that chocolate flavor. It's some fig. I don't know. This is just what it says on the can. I'm just reading it off there.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, I don't know where they're out of, but it's a solid beer. It is a solid beer.
We'll have to get
I'm
them
one of those guys
sponsored.
that once it turns to winter, I like to drink darker beers. Like
Yeah.
I change with the. I know you like to drink darker beers all year round.
I do.
I change with the season. So when I get to the season, I'm drinking Hefeweizens and lighter type of beers, lagers, whatever looks at it, and then I'm going to stouts, porters. In the winter and the fall, I'm drinking like a lot of Oktoberfest. That's kind of in between amber ales, and then spring, I'm drinking, cause some of your spring, like getting ready for the summer beers.
Yeah.
I love those.
You're just a basic bitch.
I'm a basic beer bitch. How much it will be.
Let's talk about the Sunday night game. We just learned that Carson Wentz is going to be out of this one. I'm guessing that he's probably going to be shut down for the year as soon as they lose to the Rams here.
How bad did the fucking Eagles fuck that up?
Yeah, not good. But if you remember, I was thinking about this today in the car.
You're right.
In our season predictions podcast, I don't know if you did, but I know that I did. I said it's a hangover year for Philadelphia. I don't even know if I had them in the playoffs. I think I had them in the playoffs. I had them
winning like a million games.
I think I had them in there, but I didn't have them going that far. So yeah, they're only 6-7 right now. The Rams are 11-2. What's the line for this?
They brought them back way too early, and I think they fucked up. Rams are favored by 11 at home here.
Wow.
And the Eagles are. The over-under here is 52.5. And I remember Nick Foles playing at the beginning of this year, and it was way worse than Carson Wentz at like 70%.
Right.
And maybe it's all. I think the Vikings did make a mistake, and I wouldn't be angry if the Packers went and got John Dave Filippo. I think they did make a mistake firing him because, Kirk Cousins is trash. He just is. And I wouldn't blame it on his coordinator. I just think he's that bad. They didn't have Cook. Offensive line isn't great. And, yeah, they set up a terrible offense for him anyways. So I have to go with the Rams here because I just don't think that they have the game plan in Philadelphia that they did when Filippo was there, period. Rams, 11-point favorite. They're going to blow them away here. They're going to run them out of the zoo. I don't know. They're done.
What an analogy. I hate this game, but if you make me pick, I have to take the Rams as well. What scares me a little bit are the Rams really aren't even that good against the spread this year. I'm looking at, even at home, because this is a home game for them. I'm looking at their last home game.
Well, kind of at home, They're still kind of like living in St. Louis.
That is true. LA is not even really home field advantage. But
it's not even a football, yeah.
They haven't been at home for 3 weeks. They pushed against the Chiefs. They lost against the spread against Seattle. Then they lost at home against Green Bay against the spread. I'm talking against the spread here. They
should have lost that game too.
They haven't covered a game at home since week 3. That's unbelievable.
They probably feel more comfortable playing on the road.
Well, the funny thing about that is they played the Chargers, so it's kind of like a home game for both teams.
Yeah.
So the stats and everything, I guess the spread stats bode well for Philly, but at the same token, man, it's Nick Foles, and we were both on the same page last year. Like, you should have traded Nick Foles while it was hot. I know you want to have a good quarterback, but man, that was the peak that you were ever going to be able to sell on.
They could have got him for like a fucking first or second rounder.
What are they going to get for him now? You can't get anything for him now.
Yeah, you're not going to get shit for him at this point.
Not going to get anything. So I kind of feel like
they should have Matt Flynned him.
Yeah. And should have had hindsight. You didn't know. You didn't know how the season was going to play out. You didn't know if Wentz was going to come back already in like week 3.
Yeah, but if you're watching this guy play, they should know. Like, if you're watching him game to game, he's never been good.
It's like what you say about Keenum, though. You go back to the medium. Like, you have your outliers, but you always trend back to like the medium.
Facts.
Let's do one last game here. Monday night, Saints and Panthers.
All right, last game of the week. And Monday, actually. I guess it's the first game of the week. Holy shit, I'm confused. So, Panthers are 6.5-point dogs at home because they've been playing like crap. The Saints, the over-under in this game now is 51. I want to take this. I'll give two here. I'm gonna take the Saints. They got to get back on that horse, start winning by a lot again, start inserting their will into people. Yeah, inserting their dominance into people. They're going to start with the Panthers. Cam Newton can't throw; he has no arm.
Another DJ-ism.
So I take that 6.5 points. I actually like the 6.5. I'd almost be more worried if it was 7. So I like the 6.5. I don't want that push. I want that 7 points. They'll win by at least a touchdown. So I'll take the Saints with the 6.5, and then I'll take the over in 51 here. I think the Saints score 40 here. The Panthers can score probably 15, 20 points. I think it goes over easily.
Definitely not an official play for me whatsoever. But yeah, I mean the Panthers the last few weeks, last like 4 or 5 weeks, just have not looked good. And yeah, the Saints have to start trying to get them back on track here. I think this is a good week to do it against a divisional team. Primetime audience. Last time they were primetime, it did not go well for them. I mean, Drew Brees he's gonna react. That's just the kind of quarterback he is. He's gonna get it done. Kind of like this play, actually. I kind of like the Saints. I'm gonna go with that.
Perfect.
Cool. Let's go over a couple things really, really quick here. Super funny. I want to talk a little bit about.
Is it super funny? Because when you say that, we're already fucked.
Oh yeah, I should have under promised and over delivered. So this is average funny. Rewind that a little bit.
This is really dumb.
But I want to talk a little bit about Twitter guy. And if you don't know what I mean by that, that's just a guy that's on Twitter that like comes back with his opinion and he can't be wrong and he needs to point out your flaws. And we get those every once in a while. And we usually get them with our writer Mikey because he writes a stardom sit-em article every single week. And there's always one out there that kind of disagrees with him. And we had a guy disagree. And I'm just looking through the tweets now. He called Mikey a 10-year-old that never played football. Obviously, Mikey's never played football, and obviously he is 10 years old. That's the kind of writers we have. But, like, he started wanting to throw money out there, so then I jumped in and tried, like, just being a dickhead and saying, oh, let's bet even more money. But, like, it's just funny how certain people handle it. A lot of people go back with, like, counterpoints and, like, trying to, like, prove them wrong. I treat these Twitter debates the way you need to treat a political debate. You're never going to change someone's mind, so you got to make a joke about it. That's how I would always handle Twitter guy. What is your preferred way to handle Twitter guy?
My favorite thing about this guy, first off, is that his profile, bio is billionaire, but he's got 71 followers. He's engaging with Loaded Box Podcast, right? Right? It's billionaire, Silicon Valley OG, DFS warrior, fantasy baseball savant, and NFBC OC league winner. Like, anybody knows what the fuck that is.
That's not real things.
Yes, and his name is, like, followed by a big money bag. So, this guy
his Twitter handle should be Twitter
joke
guy.
Of all time.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about that all day. I could have a whole podcast about Twitter guy, but I just wanted to call him out. Thanks for engaging with us, Twitter guy. You're a billionaire. I can't even hang with you. Oh gosh, we have one more overrated. We have an overrated for the week as well, and I take it back. This started as an overrated, and due to something that came up, it turned into an underrated. So it started as girls in yoga pants, which started as an underrated, and I kindly said, like, it can't be underrated if everyone feels the same way. But then we added in the caveat, well, what about girls that should not be wearing yoga pants, therefore making it an overrated if you look at the big picture?
Overweighted.
Should we end it on that? Should we not even talk about it?
Speech impediments, overweighted.
I can't top that. Let's just stop right then and there. Thanks for listening.
I'm on fire.
Follow us on Twitter @LoadedBox. If you missed the preview podcast earlier this week, we hit DFS and fantasy football start sits, all the above. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Get signed up for that Devontae Adams signed mini helmet. Yeah, have a great week. Good luck in your fantasy playoffs. And DJ, why don't you go ahead and send us out?
Cheers. Bye.